Government of India. Guest of honor, Dr. J.K. Jaina, DDG Fisheries, Dr. Dilip Kumar, experts, commissioners, directors and joint directors, representatives of all fisheries departments and NFDB, most respected director and joint director of ICAR-CIFE, head of the divisions, faculty members, dear colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to one and all. At the outset, I, on behalf of ICAR-CIFE, would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the second day of this consultation meeting, namely Directors Conclave, Energizing Pathway for Fisheries Development, organized by ICAR-CIFE in collaboration with NFDB. After having fruitful deliberations yesterday with all the representatives, various aspects of sustainable fisheries development discussed in the context of HRD requirement of the states, support, policy and governance, we have been able to flag some issues and come up with some actionable strategies, recommendations, options, and way forward that is envisaged to renew the momentum of this developmental journey. To begin with today's deliberations, I request our respected Director and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ravi Shankar sir, to welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. First, our Secretary, Shri Jitendra Swainji, Secretary IAS, Department of Fisheries, Government of India. Dr. J.K. Jaina sir, Dr. Dilip Kumar sir, and today we have among us Dr. Adila Abdullah. She is IAS and Director of Department of Fisheries, Kerala. I request her to welcome Madam also.
Yesterday we had welcomed all the people.
Yeah.
So welcome to you.
Now I again request Director sir to present welcome address.
Good morning to everyone. Sabhi ko namaskar. Most respected Honorable Secretary, Department of Fisheries, Government of India, Swain Sahab, our own DDG, Dr. J.K. Jaina, and our mentor and our guru, Dr. Dilip Kumar Sahab, my friend Sahu, and all the directors of the fisheries departments from the states, all the invited guests, especially Dr. Praveen, Dr. Bajaj, and Dr. Murthy representing the senior executive from the NFDB, and all my dear colleagues, a warm welcome to everyone and a good morning to everyone. We were just, yesterday and in the morning also we were discussing with Secretary Sahab. So first of all, I would like to extend a warm welcome, sir, to CIFE. It's really very nice of you, in spite of your busy schedule, that you accepted our invitation to be here. And actually, it was your idea, sir, last time, when you had come here. Again, we recall your fond visit during our fish swath, which was a great success. And I'm sure, that energized us to do better and think differently. So in continuation to that, thanks to Dr. Jaina, we had a meeting of all the ICAR Fisheries Institutes here, so that we are in the same page where we are discussing how the fisheries sector can grow. So we had a very fruitful deliberations with all the directors of the fisheries institutes, wherein we planned how the ICAR institutes can handhold the states and work with other developmental agencies like NFDB, even the Government of India, Department of Fisheries. After that, sir, as you know, sir, CIFE started as a institute under the funding of UNDP for skilling and as HRD development program institutes, and we have come a long way. So since many years we have been doing this. Now, of course, CIFE has become a university, and it is one of the premier universities in the country, a fisheries university, deemed to be university, where we are offering the master's and PhD program in disciplines, all the disciplines in the fisheries. We're taking from the fisheries resource management, the genetics, the biotechnology, the nutrition, the post-harvest technology, the extension, social sciences, aquatic health management, the environment. So when fisheries sector is growing so rapidly in the country, and keeping the importance of the growth of the fisheries sector and the importance of fisheries sector in addressing the food security and the nutritional security. Definitely, we are also growing along with that. So we are developing the course curriculum and doing the, whatever the manpower required for the sector, whether it is for the research institutions, whether it is for the developmental agencies, whether it is for the academia, the universities, whether it is for the private, businesses. So that's what our, the students are getting into. And I'm happy to tell you, sir, wow, now we are ranked 7th among the agriculture universities in the country. And recently we were accredited with the A+ grade. And we are the only institute along with NDRI which are graded A+. And so, but whatever be the achievements in the past, wherever we have reached now, but still we are always introspecting ourselves. We are finding how whether we are still relevant, and what was the the university started with a program, envisaged with a program for skilling, developing the human resource for the country. So every day the things are changing, the sector is growing, so many things are changing, and even the needs of the states are changing. Okay, maybe we started with some programs which now we are feeling that maybe they are not relevant anymore, or it needs fine tuning. And also the whatever courses we thought maybe for duration of 1 year or 6 months, maybe the states cannot afford to send their manpower or the officials for a 1-year program, because they the states also have understaffed. So sending somebody for 1 year may not be possible for the many of the states. So we thought, with the changing the demands for the country, with the changing needs for the sector, whether it is technological changes, whether it is the skilling changes, whatever, we thought we also should change with the times. So we thought, it is high time that we should relook into the courses what we are offering and understand the needs of the sector. When we talk of the sector, definitely the importance of the states come into the picture. Okay, so whatever we are doing, it is for the states. So that's why we thought there is an urgent need that we discuss with all the states, so that what is your need, where is the gap, accordingly we can design our courses. And our courses also cannot be a rigid courses. It has to be flexible, and it has to be, the modules, everything has to be in such a way that we should change along with the needs of the, like now we are talking of new technologies. We are talking of, and anyway, a lot of professionals have come into the, the field now, unlike earlier times. Okay, they're all coming from one of the premier institutes like CAFE or any other state agriculture universities. So when they are coming, they are already equipped with some of the basic technologies, but they need to again understand the field requirements. So what are the problems in the fishermen? What are the problems in the aquaculture industry? What are the issues with the disease? There are so many aspects of fisheries development. So one side, the government is giving so much of impetus for fisheries growth, fisheries development. States are also investing so much for the growth of the fisheries sector. So we thought, as an institution, as a university, who are dedicating ourselves for the academic, the teaching and research and extension. So we thought it is a high time that we call all of you under one platform and discuss and understand the needs, so that we can also be ready with whatever courses you need, how you want your people at different level, maybe at the entry level, at the mid level, at the senior level. What are the requirement for a human resource development or the skill development? So we thought this is the best platform. And when we approached the Secretary Saab also, he was so happy to, because he is one person, I'm sure I don't have to tell about our Honorable Secretary. He's always so much of enthusiastic about the sector, always discussing with everyone. I'm sure he is having regular meeting with all the states. But we thought we will look at from the perspective of the human resource development. That's what is the whole 2 days program was envisaged. And I would like to thank the Secretary for sparing his valuable time to come here to interact with you. Sir, just for your information, yesterday we had a very active and very fruitful deliberations with all the states. And once again, I would like to, on this occasion, to thank all the directors and the representatives who have represented. Nearly 25 states have come here. That's a really a big success for us, because without you, whatever we planned was of no relevance. So we are thankful to all of you for in spite of, I know, the state, so much of, demand for all of you. So still you traveled all the way to Mumbai. But we want to, yesterday, as somebody was expressing, we want to have it as a regular meetings, okay, at least once in a year, surely. So we should have this sort of a conclave so that we discuss what are the issues in the sector. It is not only the expectation from the institute like CIFE, even what are your bottlenecks or difficulties in implementing some of the central schemes, where NFDB is there, the Department of Fisheries is there. That's what is, we thought we will discuss threadbare all these things on the HRD requirements, on the implementation of the scheme as such, and also the extension mechanism, the policy, because every state now has to relook into the policy development. So that's what we are thinking. And yesterday, really, it was very energizing and very, very fruitful discussion we had. I'm sure today we'll be sharing all that after this. There will be a presentation from my colleague from CIFE, where we will share all the whatever has emerged from the yesterday's deliberations. And today you have an opportunity to interact with the secretary, and our head of the fisheries from ICR, Dr. Jana, is here, and our senior Dr. Dilip Kumar Saab is here, NFDB is here, and we have a couple of experts also we have invited here, and all my colleagues are here. And as you know, we have 5 centers, headquarters, so we are here for you. So that's what I just wanted to assure all of you. So whatever is your need from the CIFE or any other ICR institutions, Dr. Jana will be able to handle that. And of course, the secretary is here to listen to all the requirements from the states, so that as an institution, we want to see that whatever gaps are there, they are bridges. So we connect with you, with the department and the developmental agency. We want to be the bridge, and we want to really see that whatever your need, especially with the skill or any technology. So we want to be there with you. That's what is the whole idea of this meeting. So so just to highlight some of the developmental challenges. Are we investing enough? With regard to budget, that also there was a lot of discussion happened yesterday. So PMMSY is there, but there are still many states were telling they have their own requirement. I think some fine tuning is required in the schemes and all that. I think that also during the interaction meeting they will be telling. In addition to that, whether our people are competent enough to whether it is in the state or in the developmental agencies also, and where there are gaps about the skilling, that definitely CIFE will be very happy to do that. In addition to that, how we can extension mechanism is, again, we have been always talking, it's a weak link. Whatever technology is there that is not reaching to the field, or the problems in the field has to be taken to the institutions where we can develop the appropriate technology. And always the technology development and everything has to be dynamic. It has to be always revisited again. Whatever technology we are developing, whether it is appropriate to the field. So that needs to be customized, that needs to be validated in the field. That's what is very important in the present context. So because every geographic, if you see across country, every region is different. The technology which is suitable here may not be suitable elsewhere. So that has to be validated in the field, or anything to be modified, it has to come back to the research institution that can be modified and again taken back. So that's what here we are for. And again, skilling, creating the farmer-friendly technologies. We are all talking about sustainable technologies, whether it is a resource conservation, whether you're talking about fishing. So everything we are talking of responsible fisheries, sustainable fisheries development. With aquaculture is booming, definitely. We are spreading so much, but still at the same time there are a lot of issues in the sector also. So all this has to be discussed here. So there are solutions, all that, and we cannot be working in silos. So that's what we wanted to have this meeting, so that academia, the industry, the state departments, everything come together, discuss the difficulties, and also appropriate policy. I think CIFE can definitely be a nodal agency for any policy development, whatever the states needs, whether it is regard to the governments, whether it is regarding development of the fisheries acts. Everything has to be together discussed, then develop a roadmap for the development of the fisheries sector. Because some states are doing very well, some states are having some difficulty. So this is a platform wherein we want you to openly discuss. Yesterday, sir, Secretary Saab, I wanted to tell you, yesterday there was a very, very open discussion. I think Dr. Jana also will share all those inputs, whatever we got yesterday. So finally, CIFE is, to be a knowledge partner for all of you, a technical consultant to all of you, and a master trainer. Okay, that's what we are trying to be a institution. Okay, so I would like to tell you, CIFE is there for you. So whatever is your need, we can always handhold you, and we can connect the other agencies, okay, whichever is required, depending on your need. So once again, I would like to thank everyone for accepting our invitation to be here for this 2 days meeting. And I'm happy that most of the states are represented. Once again, I would like to warmly welcome Secretary Sahab, Dr. Jaina, our head of the Fisheries Fraternity from ICR, and Dr. Dilip Kumar Sahab, and all the experts, all the state representatives, and all my colleagues. So today, I think this is a very important day for all of us. You know, even Secretary coming all the way from Delhi to be with you, that shows the importance of this meeting. And definitely, we will assure you that we will have more meaningful deliberations in the future. Maybe we can have, this time it was more of a general thing, where we brought in so many things. But in future, we can have a, very focused meetings also, depending on the requirement of the state. If any state wants something specially, we can definitely, facilitate that. So we just want to take the, leadership in the fisheries development in the country by way of research, the teaching, and the extension. So that's what is our aim. That's what we have been trying. Me and my colleagues, we're always trying to do that. Maybe some of the, many of the State Department people are all alumni of this institution, sir, for the informal secretary. So I'm happy to welcome you back here. And maybe, whatever need, you have most welcome. You're always coming back to your home institution. So once again, I would like to again appreciate all my colleagues' efforts in putting up this 2 days meeting. And I'm sure the deliberations will be very, very useful. We will go back enriched, and we have made more connections now. That's what is required. The synergy amongst all the institutions, developing collaborations with all the institutions, then only the sector can grow. So that's what we are trying our best to be here. So I would like to once again assure that CIFE is there with all of the states. So we look forward for a very fruitful collaboration in the future. Once again, a warm welcome to all the dignitaries, all the state representatives, and we look forward for a very interactive session today. And we want to have a very concrete, the action points, so that the Secretary Sahab will be very happy to implement and see that these things are resolved. Thank you so much and have a fruitful day.
Thank you, sir. Now, to give a brief of yesterday's deliberations and summary of focus group discussions, I request Dr. Ananthan to present the points.
Very good morning to all of you. So the director has made my job a little easier by giving an outline of the gist of what has transpired yesterday. And I'll take about 20 to 25 minutes to give a brief background and also the salient outcome of the meeting yesterday. This is the outline of the presentation, like why the development actually cannot be taken for granted, and there's few snapshots about the development scenario in states, and then the summary of discussions under 4 heads about human resources and about the PMSY implementation and the extension service and the fisheries policy, and thereafter we can have a discussion. So, because we know that India is a very diverse country, of course, and very complex, and fisheries development, when we mean fisheries development, what comes to our mind is more fish, more consumption. Less loss, post-harvest loss, and more income for the end users, and also finally the greater public good or greater welfare. This is what we mean when we talk about fisheries development. But this doesn't happen on its own, because there are a lot of inputs, both tangibles and intangibles involved here. Traditionally, so far the focus has been on resources and infrastructure and the technologies. because this particular, these aspects are being adequately addressed. And the reason why we have gathered today or yesterday, it was that there are some issues which have not been adequately there are sorry about it. Some of those issues, resources, technologies are adequately addressed, but what is not being addressed adequately are the four aspects that the human resource. When we talk about human resource, again we have to think about adequacy as well as competency, and investment, the budget support, again adequacy and the ease of use, and also the equity of use, and the extension service. And when we talk about that, and the advisory service, training, and then program implementation, and the ICT and the media outreach, and policy and governance, that what we call PATH, that is policy, acts, regulatory framework, and the governance. So, and again processes and procedures. These aspects are not being adequately addressed, and that is why the focus has been on the last 2 days, yesterday and today, because this is very, very important and underappreciated. Now let's just look at some of the snapshots of the fisheries development scenario in states. The last 16, 17 years, if you see that the growth rate, the annual growth rate across the states have not been uniform. And this, if you look at the pattern, then irrespective of some small states have got better growth, and even some large states like Andhra Pradesh, but then we could not see any correlation between the resource available or the potential and the growth rate, which means that even though resources and potential are available, in some states do not have not witnessed adequate growth rate, whereas some states even with limited potential have had higher growth rates. So that is some thing of a concern, because when we talk about fisheries as a sunrise sector, there is a lot of scope. And the staff position, there are several issues, but then one glaring issue is that you can see the last column. There is a abysmal, the very kind of a depleted staff strength across most of the states. This we have some scanty information about many of the states, so we haven't been able to include for all. But then the minimum, there is 30% vacancy in any state that we talk about, and it goes up to 70-80%. So this is the kind of the constraint that the departments of fisheries are working. And when it comes to the training and capacity building, you can see a lot of oranges, which mean that there is both professionals and non-professionals do get recruited. But many of them, many states do not even have an orientation or a foundation course for the new recruits when they join the service, unlike the civil servants or even agriculture service or in agricultural colleges. When they join, there is a foundation course. And because particularly when we talk about professional management of the departments, this is very, very essential. And even though they are technically qualified, it's very important to orient them towards development. And there is no mid-career refresher courses, and which is not mandated. Some states do have, like Jharkhand, Kerala, but then many of the states do not have. And in the age of digital India and digital outreach, where it's emphasized, we could see, we just took a quick review of the websites of all the fisheries departments, and we could see, you can see the lot of red oranges, which mean that the availability of websites, the adequacy of information about staff, infrastructure, extension, the various development reports, and the updation of websites, which is not very regular. So this is something very, very the basic and essential thing. Coming to the PMSY and the budget, the investment that's happening in the sector from the center, just 2021, we could see that this is the proportion of investment that has gone close to 900 crores. And in 21-22, it was 1200 crores. And 22-23, it's slightly higher, the provision, that was the estimate. And which means that there is about almost about 9,500 plus crores are to be spent in 5 years by the center. But we are not even crossed the halfway mark, even though we are in the third year. So this is something that should worry all of us. And we did again a quick analysis of how the different states are able to utilize money from the PMSY. And only the coastal states we were able to look in some detail. And you can see that over the years that the 2016-17 to 2020-21, in different years, different states are able to utilize different levels. But then you could see that along the coastal states itself, there is a lot of variation. States like West Bengal, Gujarat have not been able to utilize much. And whereas states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, and Odisha in recent year, even Kerala, largely the southern states seem to be performing slightly better in terms of utilizing money. So even how much of these coastal fisheries departments, how much do they spend on the fisheries development? And again, the coastal states, if we see that the same trend continues, that those states which are having larger budget, only the southern states are able to mobilize also fund from the center. So which means there is a kind of a connect. And again, Maharashtra and Gujarat and Odisha and the West Bengal, their performance need a lot of improvement, even though Odisha seems to be catching up in recent year compared to earlier. So the 21-22, it refers to the budget estimate. We are yet to get the actual utilization, but you could see a lot of jump in Maharashtra, West Bengal, and Odisha, whereas and this is a national per capita expenditure. We just did a quick calculation about the population and then how much budget is going, and is there any, so that we can just compare. And we could see, irrespective of the large population or small states or large states, there is a lot of variation. Some states are able to spend more per capita, the public expenditure, and some states are very, very less, little less than 4,000, 5,000 rupees per fisher in a year. But then this is only national, but it does give some indication. And so that's a snapshot. And now let's get into this was the background against which we discussed each of the issues in detail yesterday through the focus group discussions. And you could see, sir, that there was the discussions went on till 8 from almost 12 o'clock in the morning. So 4 groups, HRD group, extension group, and policy group, sorry, 3 groups. And in each of that, the major, I'm only highlighting the major parts. Probably if something is missed, the State Department representatives can chip in during discussion. There is an urgent need to revise the cadre strength and relook at the cadre strength and across the states, because the depleted staff strength, this is a major issue. And the more worrying thing is that there is a near absence of field staff at the sub-district and level in most states. There is no review, and also there is an eligibility conundrum when it comes to the entry-level appointments. A lot of discussion yesterday, but then the overall consensus seems to be towards recruiting or giving preference to professionals. And there are also other structural and functional anomalies in with respect to HR. The nomenclature of positions, because there seems to be a lot of colonial heritage we have not yet shed the baggage, and the more orientation towards the revenue and regulatory aspects as against the developmental thrust. And there is also a redundant support staff in form of fishermen and fieldmen, which I think need redeployment. And also disparities in pay scale across states, even within states, across the line departments. So what can be done, or what should be done with respect to that? Again, staff adequacy. We need to encourage and incentivize states to fill vacancies on a mission mode. This, I think, center has to somehow chip in, like FFPAs of 1970s, and revise the cadre with a defined job profile. And this is a national horticulture mission model. Seems to be, some suggested that that's a good model to look at. And also there was a suggestion whether we can have a state level fisheries service, like there are some states with agriculture service. So that there is a kind of, and even Indian fisheries service is something that one can give a thought. Recruitment process, again, that needs to be, many states have changed their recruitment policies, but some states are yet to do that. And Matsya Mitras, already a lot of some success stories in Sagar Mitras, but then again, there is no uniformity or across states in terms of not all states have been able to benefit. HR policy for the fisheries department in each state, so which encompasses all these. And the second part, the enhancing the competency of the staff. There was what finally we could distill is that we should have 4 types of programs. One, there should be a foundation course for fisheries service for all new recruits, which can be, maybe some states have said 3 months or 4 months, but then some students, some people who are, for those professionals, it could be at least minimum 1 month, for non-professionals up to 3 to 6 months. This is something that CIFE can do in collaboration with the other agencies and institutions. And for the mid-career, the professional development or executive development programs, EDP, and that the range, it can be for 10 to 15 days. And then management development programs for the senior officers. Also, there was an, yesterday there was some, I think from Haryana and other states, they said that there are no program for middle and senior level program officers as of now, which is very important. That can be offered or should be offered. And then 4th category is the demand driven, which more or less several states are making use of it. They're sending their staff for on specific technologies. But then within this, on new technologies and recent advances, there are a lot of ICAR institutes and fisheries colleges are offering a lot of bouquet of programs. But the on skilling and development management was something that was felt by all states yesterday, that they need capacity to develop DPRs, monitor and evaluate the projects, and the formation of FFPOs, even success story documentation, the strengthening the cooperative, usage of social media. So these are some things which are not sufficiently available that we should be looking at. Coming to the, that's the first group. The second, the PMSY, the major challenges, just what we could see, just restating what I've already told, that less than anticipated utilization, and also many states have less budget allocation, and varying or differential abilities of different states to match because central assistance will come only when the states demand and they are able to give their matching share. That is very important. So that some states were able to make, some states not able to. And also most of the states felt, sir, that the criteria and the terms under PMSY are not more stringent or restrictive as compared to the earlier, because there is a tendency to compare the previous scheme with the present scheme. So what are those things? I'll just briefly tell. And also the major thing, even from stakeholders as well as department, that beneficiaries are unable to secure credit because 40% to 60% they are supposed to match, and that they are not able to get the credit from the bank, or it is either delayed or they are not willing to give loans. So there is a mismatch between the special provision or enhanced support for SC/ST, because it is up to 60%, But among the coastal states and even inland states, they say that they are not able to make use of that money because very few SCSTs or absence of SCSTs among fishers. And what are the options? This is a kind of a universal demand among the states to enhance the support under PMSY from 40 to 60% to 80 to 90%, particularly in the inland sector. And in case, of course, from the NFDB, Murthy clarified the difficulties in that. So the states were asking whether they can top up the balance amount, because now there seems to be restriction to over and above the center support. And also the some of the northern states, they expressed that let us just keep the overall cap about the SCST and the women component instead of keeping it for each and every component. And the FFPOs, the support is now available only for newly formed FFPOs, not for the already existing. So that some expressed that they should be permitted to avail benefits. And also there was many states have expressed that the ongoing river ranching programs, we need to exercise some caution when it comes to the choice, the species that we select in terms of biodiversity perspective. And the major amendments or flexibilities in certain criteria, they have listed. These are all not exhaustive list, but then this is what many states have expressed yesterday. The development of community tanks is now out of scope. So which many states, they said that that is the major resource in those states. So that needs to be included. Similarly, waterlogged areas are floodplains. And some coastal states like Karnataka, I think now support for kerosene-based OBM vessels. Now kerosene subsidy is no longer available, but then that is fine. That is fine with them. But when they want to convert to OBM-based, petrol-based outboard motor vessels, for that support, if it is extended, it will further the conversion, they say. And also for establishment of brood banks and other infrastructure, whether they were asking whether the existing state farms, if it can be supported instead of always going for a new facility. And also the including certain species other than tilapia and pangasius for support in cage culture and other inland fisheries sector. And the revision of unit cost periodically so that the cost escalations can be accounted accordingly. Or the states can top up. If they are allowed to top up the additional cost, it will ease the thing. And also they asked to introduce flexibility in terms of certain specifications about RAs, biofloc units, numbers, size, and all. And this is one tricky issue that the DPR, some states, they said they spend money, but they are not able to reimburse from the center in case if they are not accepted or approved. So whether some mechanism can be worked out, need to be examined. And also the guidelines can be relaxed to spend the unspent money for a particular year under SCST category from the general category, under unspent under SCST to general category. And also the release of money, now it seems that only the overall money in all the categories are spent, the center releases, but whereas even if it is spent under general category, that money should be released. So these are all some of the changes they want in the existing guidelines. And other issues, the NFDB seems to be have already taken initiative to facilitate the obtaining loans from the banks for the beneficiaries, signed MOUs with SBA and PNB. But then if it can be, all the other banks can be roped in, that will ease obtaining of credit. And the strengthening the state capacities to prepare DPRs, of course, and some revenue model like public-private partnerships are working well in some states. So that if it can be documented and shared with other states for replication, that would be good. And then some of them said that we probably need a more thorough review, a kind of a midterm review of PMSY program, so that some course corrections can be taken to utilize the maximum amount budget under the PMSY. And Moving on to the extension service, how do we reboot and rejig? There are some of the options. There are best practices or innovative cases existing under PMSY. So if an effort is made to document all such things and share across the states, that will ease and also give an idea about what kind of programs and projects can be undertaken by other states. And they also said that now a lot of misinformation on new technologies in the social media, and also the lack of sufficient user-friendly literature on technologies and other aspects. So an effort can be made, an organized effort can be made to create those things in multiple languages and platforms. That will do a lot of good. And they already, NFDB seems to have taken an initiative with cooperative ministry to map the cooperatives, but then that reform should be taken forward and be able to use them for development support further. And they also said that these R&D highlights, though there are some mechanism to share from ICR through regional committee meetings, but probably when it comes to fisheries, that mechanism does not seem to be working as effectively as one would desire. So there could be a mechanism or a platform where the synthesis of the R&D highlights from all ICAR institutes and colleges of fisheries can be converted or made into an accessible format and shared with all the state departments on a regular basis. And strengthening extension wings with enhanced budget support is something everyone wants, but then they are also constrained not to be able to do much. And the use of ICT tools and digital media, social media need training and also incentivizing the Department of Fisheries. That is something that. And finally, when we come to fisheries policy and governance options, that some states now, compared to say in CIFE, took initiative, Dr. Dilip Kumar in 10 years ago, and went to mainstream fisheries policy across states. So that has borne fruit, and now 10 years down the line, we could see that many states have developed certain sectoral, subsectoral policies and revised some of the amendments. And then the center is also keen to assist the states and come out on its own, the mariculture policy, inland fisheries policy, marine fishing regulation, and policy on exotics and all. So now some of the states, but now the experience sharing and across the state should be there, and each state should be encouraged to have a vision statement, fisheries policy, and then development management plan. That, of course, CIFE can handhold, as our director said. And also, there is many states have felt that we need to revisit and review the 20, 30 years old MFRAs in states, Marine Fisheries Regulation Acts, and based on an objective review, evidence-based review, and they all also agreed that the fleet size, fishing fleet capacity, and the minimum legal size, all that issues need to be kind of addressed, and they seem to be unanimous in terms of curtailing, realizing the over capacity in marine capture fisheries and the need to minimize that, and developing an GIS-based and web-based database and vessel tracking systems is one thing. And they have also said that whether since now the fishing happens beyond the 12 nautical miles, they felt that we need to have a common maritime policy across all states. And it can be something like India is much more than the European Union, and European Union has a common fisheries policy with its own country-specific provisions. So something like that can we think of, that is one thing. And but then they also wanted a clearly defined demarcation of roles and responsibilities for states and center, because the EEZ is under the center's jurisdiction, but somehow center has to implement it through the state, so they need to be doing it in partnership. And fish stock assessment, again, there is a lot of disputes between, or not disputes rather, the lot of issues, contentious issues about the acceptance of what is the stock that is available and what is that can be exploited. And of course, CMFRA has done a lot of work on that area, but probably now there is a need to come together between R&D and the state fisheries departments, and then agree and also strengthen the efforts to assess the stocks. And in the inland reservoir fisheries, they seem to, everyone have expressed that the database is almost unreliable, if it is existent at all. And then this can be done only with participation of stakeholders, particularly the fishers. So we need to be looking forward to a mechanism for regular data collection, either through the, of course, through the state fisheries departments. And some states have come out with reservoir fisheries policies. Some states have expressed the desire to develop that, and we should be supporting. And there are also cross-sectoral issues, particularly when it comes to the water usage, because there is multiple use agencies competing for the water for agriculture, industry, and fisheries. So there is a need to have a state-level coordination committees to resolve those issues. And also there is a need to move towards a community-based and development-oriented fisheries management, particularly in reservoirs, as against purely a revenue-based models. And inland fisheries cooperative strengthening anyway, it's there. That is one of the other issues. In aquaculture, again, development plan, policy and plan, everyone felt, and they also wanted that the quarantine facilities that are available now at one or two places need to be more, and if not state, at least regional level facilities should be created, they said. And this FDA, there is a need to regulate. Everyone seems to have agreed that the need to regulate the usage of chemicals and medicine in the aquaculture, particularly shrimp aquaculture, but in freshwater as well. So one way is to register, train, and certify those traders and dealers, which, like in agriculture, some effort has been taking place with where the manage is training those people and also enlisting them as the last mile connectivity. So a similar effort can be thought of here, but then first thing is that to kind of list and regulate them, which of course the states have to do with the center's assistance. And particularly seed quality, ensuring this is an again seem to be a perennial issue, but some efforts have taken place, and then probably need to strengthen those mechanisms. And there is also, they felt that the R&D support that is available need a slight reorientation, where the farmers and the industry need to be involved more actively in so that these R&D efforts are become more fruitful. Then promote rainwater harvesting, and then how they can be used for aquaculture. That was also a suggestion. And integrated fish farming, particularly in northeastern states, many have said that this paddy cum fish farming is one of the major activities, and but when that is not being considered under support for under PMSY, and in addition to that, even that those programs meant for Northeast should have that as a major component. And this census and database is one of the, other than the extension, I think this is one of the major weak link. There is an absence, and of course the department has taken some initiative to conduct the fishery census, but it is yet to happen. So they also said that, like in some states it is being done with the livestock census every 5 years, but then the data that is not usable in a usable format, because it is not at the level of disaggregation that is required. So either we integrate with livestock on a regular basis, or have conducted a separate fishery census periodically that should cover resources, production, and also people who are involved, either farmers or fishers. And that should be made in an open source dashboard, so that it is available for all users and the academic institutions or the individual state governments. So it should be, of course, a centralized effort done with the help partnership with states. And marketing, there were many suggestions, again, like the Amul model and the NEC egg promotion, something like that. We should be promoting fish as a healthy food. That some efforts are ongoing, but need to upscale that effort, scale up that effort. That's all. And then our director has already said that this kind of a gathering should be there every year so that we can keep track of progress that we are making and also take stock of what else, what can be done more. Just restating what CIFE can do as a knowledge partner and a consultant most trainer. And we are also mooting the idea of setting up a center of excellence on development management or whatever we call it, just to handhold and facilitate the fisheries development in the country and states. So this is kind of one area where we can chip in. Thank you.
Nice. Next. Ma'am, tomorrow I'll compile whatever I have. One you can share or Google Drive.
You need to collect some photographs.
Okay, ma'am.
Where is the biggest because many things, information is there. I mean, bulk of information, but photographs are very
We'll contact me immediately and next week by.
As per the schedule of the tea break,
They went to watch. Tea is there.
E9, sir.
And what is it? Photo. But tea break is photo.
There's an announcement. So we'll now break for tea and we'll have a group photograph in the first floor reception area and then we'll reassemble back here.
Director of conclave level.
So once again, a very warm welcome to all of you. Now we will have an interactive session. So I request all the state representatives to initiate the interaction and whatever discussions we need to have with our Honorable Secretary. So we'll hand over the mics to you and then we'll start the session.
Yesterday you people had a lot of things, no? So now secretary is here, so you should- I think somebody should start.
Sir, we have sir,
Another one.
sir, we have 8,030 traditional boats, sir, which actually operates on using kerosene, sir. Kerosene is being allocated by central government, sir. Nowadays, it is not actually encouraging this kerosene, sir. Sir, actually under VR, sir, we had a component wherein this OBM boats used to be replaced, sir. There was a component of 60% subsidy, sir. So now in PMMSY, we don't have that option, sir. We would like to change all
How much subsidy you require, you tell. You don't give so much of land on that.
Sir, sir, the cost of a petrol engine, sir, it is 1,40,000, sir. So we have 8,000 boats, but in phasing manner only, we'll have to change those things, sir.
Why don't you try converting to LPG?
LPG we tried, sir, but it is not working properly, sir.
Our trial has been better with LPG, but though not as great as petrol, but we have taken LPG after the independent study. It was found okay. So,
In phasing also we can do it, sir.
LPG will reduce the cost by 40%. And there is no difference as per cooling power. Shipnet has done a very detailed study. And the cost of conversion is, I think, maybe about 25%. वो ज़्यादा बोलता है, but last scale में 18,000, 17,000. Maybe 50-50 we can say.
We can have both LPG and even petrol also, sir. That will give us.
Cleaner.
But they have the lines of LPG line, but right now it has not come to Karnataka, sir.
Which one?
Maybe it will take another 1 year also, sir.
Cylinders only. The commercial cylinders, not even the domestic. वो domestic पे लगाएंगे उसका बाद, I know that. But commercial cylinder itself, it is a 40%.
We'll try that, sir.
sir, but
You send the proposal.
Okay, sir.
sir, we
You
will,
send proposal.
Sure.
Whatever you think is good, you send proposal. Whatever we can do, we will do. Whatever we cannot do, we will give some alternative order. And if nothing is possible, then it is not possible. But please send the proposal.
Sure, sir.
also be sending, sir, we are also in the pipeline of converting from kerosene to petrol and diesel engines, sir.
no doubt there.
Preference is to the states first.
ओके सर, मैं भरत सिंह, डायरेक्टर फिशरीज मध्य प्रदेश से। सर, मेरा एक छोटा सा रिक्वेस्ट था। जो RAS बाय फ्लॉक बन रहे हैं सर, तो उसमें लाइट का बहुत बड़ा इशू आ रहा है सर। उसमें हम लोग काफी नजदीक मूव करे थे, आपसे निवेदन, आपने हमारे स्टेट में भ्रमण कराए थे, लेकिन उसमें कुछ सार नहीं निकल पाया सर। तो उसमें निवेदन है कि सर कि जैसे एग्रीकल्चर को दरें मिलती हैं, अगर एक रूपता से हमारे स्टेट को भी मिल जाए सर, या सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से कोई आदेश हो जाते हैं। और दूसरा सर, एक छोटा सा कोई रिक्वेस्ट है सर, जो पहले हमारा नील क्रांति योजना थी, उसमें सोलर सपोर्ट सिस्टम में कुछ सब्सिडी वगैरह का प्रोविजन था। PMSY में सर वो शायद अब नहीं था, तो अगर उसमें PMSY में इसको सोलर सपोर्ट सिस्टम को चालू किया जाए।
मॉडल है
सर, सोलर सपोर्ट सिस्टम के मॉडल्स में तो हम लोगों ने जो तैयार किए, रिजोल्यूशन में लगाए थे, उन लोगों ने पंप्स वगैरह वो आसानी से चला पा रहे हैं, और पंप्स वगैरह जो हैं 3 हॉर्स पावर 2 हॉर्स पावर के, वो आसानी से चल जाते हैं सर। बायोफ्लॉक पॉइंट में जो सोलर सपोर्ट में लग रहे हैं फिल्टर एरिएशंस वगैरह चल रहे हैं, तो वो चल जाते हैं सर। पूरी 24 घंटे तो नहीं चल पाते हैं, लेकिन मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली 4-5 घंटे वो चला लेते हैं सर। ये रिक्वेस्ट था सर, तो ये हो जाते तो काफी राहत मिलती सर। ओके सर, ओके ओके सर। सर, एक छोटा सा और हमारे कल चर्चा में विषय आया कि प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा में जो कम्युनिटी पॉन्ड्स हैं सर, जिसको हम लीज आउट करते हैं सर 10 साल के लिए, उसमें किसी प्रकार का कोई प्रावधान नहीं रखा गया प्रधानमंत्री में। न्यू पॉन्ड कंस्ट्रक्शन में सब्सिडी है, उसमें हम दे रहे हैं सर, लेकिन जो पॉन्ड कम्युनिटी पॉन्ड्स हैं उसमें कुछ सब्सिडी वगैरह नहीं है, जबकि मोस्ट प्रोबेबली हमारा सर जो प्रोडक्शन है कम्युनिटी पॉन्ड से मिलता है।
ऑब्वियसली आप ही लोग ने मना किया, इसमें बहुत गड़बड़ होता है, नहीं करना। when the guidelines were being made, I don't know पुराने कोई डायरेक्टर से हो रहा है।
सर, हम कल हमारे जो लैंड स्टेट हैं सर, सभी ने विचार विमर्श किया, और ऐसा सोचा गया सर कि उसमें अगर कुछ होता है तो अच्छा हो जाएगा सर।
उसमें क्या करोगे
सर, उसमें हम लोग हर साल जैसे रिजर्वायर जो बड़े हैं हमारे मध्य प्रदेश में, काफी बड़े बड़े रिजर्वायर थे, उसमें सीड का, नेट का, बोट का, इस प्रकार के प्रोविजन रखा करते थे। तो उसमें अगर उनको मिलता है सीड वगैरह में सब मिल जाता है, तो स्टॉकिंग वगैरह में उसको मदद हो जाती है सर। और नाव हुए में 5 साल में 3
फिशरीज को सब्सिस्टेंस एक्टिविटी जैसे रखेंगे क्या? हर साल इनपुट का सपोर्ट देंगे, हर साल नहीं देंगे तो नहीं चलेगा। पता है
सर, लीज आउट की पॉलिसी है कि 10 साल के बाद वो दूसरे को जाता है, और
तो आप इस तरह आप इन्वेस्ट करते हैं इंप्रूविंग द फंड, तो 1 साल में रिकवर होना चाहिए, प्रॉपर्ली करता है, प्रॉपर्ली नहीं करता है। आई डोंट नो, आप लोग बताइए
सर यूपी रेवानी से कुछ सपोर्ट करेंगे।
Thank you, sir. Sir, reservoir में not every year, sir, but once in 5 years. ये मेरा सजेशन, क्योंकि सर जब उसका एंड आने को होता है रिजर्वायर के कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का, तो वो ज्यादातर उसमें से कैच करके ले जाता है। और प्रैक्टिकल बात यह है कि सर थ्योरेटिकल जो भी कहें कि मैश साइज फला, लेकिन वहाँ मौके पे इतना किसी डिपार्टमेंट के पास स्टाफ नहीं है कि उसके ईच एंड एवरी नेट को हम लोग मॉनिटर कर पाए। द ओनली वे इज कि हम उसको फर्दर ऑगमेंट करें, उस जो लॉस है उसको मिटिगेट करने के लिए हम एटलीस्ट वंस इन ए 5 ईयर अगर हम उसमें स्टॉकिंग कराते हैं, then it will be beneficial. Certainly it will be beneficial.
तो कराते हैं कि रिजर्वायर स्टॉकिंग का स्कीम है
नहीं, वो ब्लू रेवोल्यूशन में था सर, PMSY में है, लेकिन उसको
Every state actually we allotted now figure links you can purchase and you can stack it to community funds or lakes.
दूसरा सर जो कल हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया था,
इम्प्रूवमेंट होता है।
और पहले भी सर मैं आपके सम्मुख की बात,
डिपार्टमेंट शुड नॉट स्ट्रांगली बिलीव विद दिस, वी शुड नॉट गेट इनटू सिविल वॉर।
सर दूसरा
होगा कि यू विल बिकम लाइक फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट, उनका काम है पेड़ लगाना जी। अब तक जब से फॉरेस्ट एक्ट आ गया वो सिविल वर्क ही करते हैं, फॉरेस्ट का अंदर पेड़ लगाना भूल गए।
नहीं, हम लोग सिविल वर्क नहीं डिमांड है सर। सिमिलरली जो कम्युनिटी पॉइंट्स में भी बात आई थी सर, मैंने एक बार और अपॉर्चुनिटी आपसे इंटरेक्ट होने की मिली थी, तब भी ये रिक्वेस्ट की थी। हम लोग सर 10 साल की लीज पे बड़े बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स दे रहे हैं, बट उसमें भी सर सिविल वर्क को नहीं, सिर्फ इनपुट्स में वंस इन ए 10 ईयर उसको लीज हुआ तो फर्स्ट टाइम उसको एक इनपुट सपोर्ट में अगर सीड फीड पे हम जैसे न्यू कंस्ट्रक्टेड पॉइंट में हम दे रहे हैं 4 लाख रुपए तक का प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट पे पर हेक्टेयर, सिमिलरली ऑन दैट लाइन अगर फॉर हम कम्युनिटी पॉइंट्स की लीज अगर 10 साल की होती है उस पे देने के लिए सर, ये हमारा बहुत बड़ा मींस की इन लैंडलॉक स्टेट में एक्वाकल्चर के लिए यही उसकी बैकबोन है सर, जो कम्युनिटी बॉन्ड है।
ये बताओ यार, एफएमजीएस से ही कर रहे हैं
सर, दैट्स ट्रू सर, हम लोग कर रहे हैं। इट इज पिकिंग अप सर, लेकिन वो हर 10 साल के बाद में फिर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर चेंज होता है ना, नया आदमी एक बार सपोर्ट मांग रहा है सर।
कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बिड करके लेता है ना।
नहीं, छोटे छोटे वो बिड सर, रिजर्वायर्स में नहीं हम बात कर रहे हैं, कम्युनिटी पॉन्ड सर, से 1 एकड़ 2 एकड़ 4 एकड़ जो कम्युनिटी पॉन्ड है वो बहुत पुअरेस्ट फार्मर है।
सोसाइटी को देते हैं ना।
सोसाइटी को सर हमारे यहाँ बड़े हैं जो अबाउट 2 हेक्टेयर्स हैं, मींस 5 एकड़ एंड अबव, और अप टू 5 एकर्स 1 एकड़ टू हाफ एकड़ टू 5 एकर्स दे आर फॉर इंडिविजुअल, प्रेफरेबली टू द फिशर फॉक्स।
I think development of the ponds is, I think, pretty much possible under Manrega.
Development is all right. Development we are not asking. We are asking for inputs.
But the argument that, you know, if we give subsidy or support, they will not deplete the biomass there after their tenure is over. I think how will you ensure that? How will help in that?
For 1 acre, the stock will not continue. It is not part of the fisheries that they will leave something there. So once after 10 years my tenure is over, I will withdraw each and everything from the pond and I will hand it over to the government and they will allot to somebody else. It is not like reservoirs. Just 1 acre pond, half acre pond, 2 acre pond, the community pond I'm talking of.
Are you finding it difficult to, you know, give those ponds to somebody and?
No, not at all, sir. What I am arguing is, what I am rather not arguing, but I am begging with the Secretary Government of India, sir, I am pleading on behalf of all those BPL type farmers whom we are supporting, that they belongs to the fisherman community.
BPL type का आप लोग खुद देते हैं।
सर वो
कोई सरकार देता है क्या?
सर वो पॉइंट तो सर BPL टाइप को ही अलॉट होते हैं सर, बाकी में सब ठीक है सर, आई एग्री सर, बट दे आर रियली पुअर पीपल सर। Sir, I am not talking of the projects which I have shown you on your visit. But जो लोग कम्युनिटी पॉइंट में उनको 10 साल के लिए लीज हुआ, 10 साल के लिए उनको एक बार वो गरीब आदमी को दिया है, उसको अगर वन टाइम हम सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, हम सर रिच आदमी को सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं कि वो अपने लैंड पे
10 साल में जो होता है, जो लीज लेता है उसको सपोर्ट करके तो different states will have different kind of a system. State का पॉलिसी बनाओ
सर, that's good sir.
लीज पीरियड कितना होता है?
10 years sir.
सब स्टेट में 10 years. हाँ, कहीं 1 साल भी हो।
हाँ, एक साल भी होता है।
1 साल भी है, कहीं 1 साल है, कहीं 3 साल, 5 साल, 5 साल, कहीं 10 साल।
सर
My state being a maritime state, we are. My state being a maritime state, I will be speaking only on the marine issues we faced. So, we had taken a policy decision to not to add any more to the fishing fleet way back in 2004. So our fishing vessel fleet remains the same. And now we have seen that most of the smaller trawlers, they face a lot of problems because they do not get enough of catch. So we require some assistance from maybe the research institutes to suggest what can be done for this particular sector of the trawlers, smaller trawlers. Because they do not want to shift. Sometimes they come and ask me what to do. And I say, tell them you go for a canoe if you cannot afford to buy a bigger trawler. But they do not want to come down to a canoe. Although the canoes are maybe much better off than the smaller trawler owners. So that is one issue what we have, sir. And then the second one is with respect to the scheme of the PMMSY, with respect to replacement of the close to deep sea fishing vessels. So now we are very experts in doing persimming, because I think our state was the first to even demonstrate persimming to the other states. And in persimming, I think is a very good technique of fishing because it is targeting only the surface fish, and especially now the fishermen go for a longer duration of fishing of 10 days a trip. So they are going beyond the 12 nautical miles, basically at the depth of 100 meters and on. So here, in the resource specific fishing, what is under PMMSY is only for tuna long liners. So why can't the persimmers be used also given the financial assistance, or maybe we can have persimming and tuna, because the fishermen are not very confident in just going with tuna long line because they spend so much money, invest more than 2 crores or 2.5 crores on their vessels, and what if they come back without any tuna? So they want that it should be given for also technology which they already know. That is, so we need someone's assistance to see whether it is.
Deep sea vessel or porcines, right?
Yes.
That also along with that.
And also, sir, there is, as you are well aware about the LED light fishing. So we need to know the impact of the LED light fishing on the fishing resources, and also a stock assessment for fish to be done or maybe revisited beyond the 12 nautical miles. Stock assessments, because earlier we were not really very sure what kind of fish is available in the deeper oceans. Yes, because now fishermen are coming with a lot of fish, even mackerels this year bumper. So, and also big size of mackerels, which was even not known before 5 years back. We knew of a mackerel of maybe only max 28 to 30 centimeters. So now it is going beyond also. So we don't know. So maybe, yeah, so maybe some reassessment of the stock needs to be done.
Reason you think this time more flat catch?
Climate change, okay, we just say if we don't know anything, it is climate change. So it requires a proper study, sir. Yes. So,
Is there any mudbank formation this year?
I will be hanged if I say that the climate change is wrong. To some extent, I agree with the Trump. Because when it rained cats and dogs in Chennai, they said climate. We found that exactly 100 years back there was a similar response. Only thing is those were paddy fields.
yes, sir. So therefore we require to do restock assessments of the stocks and see how there is an effect of
You want to study of the light, effect of light.
Yes.
Yesterday, she told we have profit of
So these are the things, sir. And also, sir, in the PMMSY, there is no component for solar lights for the marine side. Just a day before I came here, sir, we inaugurated
What is the cost of it?
So what we require is to get a KVA of 5 KVA solar system on the vessel. Yes, so that it can help in refrigeration.
You need a battery.
Not for all the vessels. We are talking about at maximum. So we have a vessel which now we have installed. The whole system, including the refrigeration unit, costed them around 15 lakhs. So we are trying to see whether we can get some amount from GEDA, that is the alternate energy department. So they told us to make a proposal, but if it comes under the PMMSY, it would be good because it is for the fishing industry. all work. Thank you, sir.
In modernization, we give some 15 lakh rupees.
Yes,